So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Justria, and today guys on my channel I'll be talking about trauma, and the trauma that I will be talking about is personally I've faced a lot of traumas, so I'm going to go over them or talk about them gradually or later on. But the first one I want to talk about is the one that really like affected me the most and really affected me until like I turned 22. Yeah, mind you, I'm 23, so like I'm still like recovering from the trauma, and it is the sexual trauma. And yeah, I want to get into it. And I'm doing this video to clarify a lot of stuff because I don't know if it's a girl out there like me or somebody or a dude who's like been sexually like, you know, just fucked up and they didn't know. They felt like they couldn't say shit, and they feel like they didn't want to say shit because they didn't want nobody to say nothing to them or about them, or feel like they're lying or what you call it, so they like suppressed it and did certain things that I did. So yeah, I want to start it off because I just want to start it off. Yeah, because I have to re-record because somebody just like to call me. Just let me know. So yeah, let's get into it. At age 8, my grandmother died, and once my grandmother died, that's when the sexual trauma started to happen. Mind you, when the sexual trauma started to happen, I was 8, right? I was sad that my grandma died, and I really, because at the time I felt like my grandma was the only one that like really loved and showed me affection and cared. Like I considered my grandma at the time more of a mother than my actual mother was. And for me, it was like, oh, okay, you know, okay. And so when she passed away, I was feeling lost. Like very, very lost, like an 8-year-old. Like, trust me, I started fighting more. I started getting a whole bunch of other shit. And that's when the molestation started happening from age 8 to 13. Like, they never penetrated me. Yes, when I've always, I have to talk about it because I'm being transparent right now. But deep down in my heart, I really don't want to say. Okay, I'm just saying it. So I had an uncle who actually pulled out his stuff, and he made me put my mouth on it and get him off. I've never told nobody that, like, ever. Like, I've always hid that detail because I've always felt embarrassed about it. Like he would touch on me inappropriately and say that it's because I was developing like this and everything else, and I always just felt violated. Like something in me didn't like it. But when you're growing up and you have people like telling you like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be, and this is love, and well, I do this because I love you type shit, then you get to the point where it's like, okay, he's doing this because he loves me and he cares about me. Like literally from age 8 to 13, like I've had uncles tell me that same exact line. They told me that I couldn't say shit about it. It feels so good to say it like out loud. Like it doesn't feel good to have done it, but it feels good to say it out loud now and just be honest and blunt. Like fuck it, Josh. Some people gonna say I'm lying on this video. Some people say, oh, I do anything for cloud and all this other stuff since the R. Kelly shit and this and that and third. I know it's gonna be somebody out there like, oh, she's a fucking lying ass whore and a bitch and this and that and third. But I don't care. Like this feels good to say. Like he really made me give him fellatio, and I was 8, and then I stopped going to that person. And then I stopped going around them because I think my mom got married. Mom got married, and then it was my stepdad's side of the family that started doing uncles who started doing nasty shit to me. It wasn't all of my uncles, but it was a good part of my uncles. And they was telling me like, oh, this is love and we like you and you know, you my girlfriend, this is that and the third. And the family started looking at me like I was a whore and shit. Like I was trying to push up on them, but they was actually pushing up on me. And like I felt like they knew that they was pushing up on me and like telling me lies and shit like, oh yeah, this, that, and the third. Because I actually had a cousin who they did the same exact thing to her. Like they touched on her, they fucking felt on her, and it wasn't just me. And I used to hate this bitch because I used to be like, damn, why the fuck are they touching on her and me? Like if they sitting there telling me that they love me and they doing this and they doing that and this, that, and the third, why they touching on her? And that shit used to grind my fucking gears. And when I say it used to grind my gears, like it used to piss me the fuck off. Like why is he touching on her? But he just told me that he loved me. That's why he touched on me. And then she'll look at me and she don't like me to this day still because of the whole situation. And I know she knows, and I know her mother knows, because she stopped bringing her around to events events and shit, and nobody ever spoke on it, and it really fucking bothered me because everybody always made it seem like I was the fast one and I was the one that was coming after them, but they was so fucking sit there, touch on me, lie to me, tell me shit like, oh, you know, you my girlfriend, you my this, you my that, you know, you my lady, you my this, that, and the third. I did a story time on how my molester became my boyfriend. Yes, I did that, and a lot of y'all felt like because I held out some information. Because at the time when I was recording it, I was in a really bad place. But honestly, no. I left out a lot of details because I felt terrible and bad. Like, people don't understand, like, I left out details, like, to protect family and shit. But I feel like I have to be extremely honest. Like, really honest. Like, at age 8, my uncle made me give him head. Like, we literally spent the night over his house. And uncle, cousin, whatever the fuck he is, and he literally made me put my thing, and then my mom asked me about it one time, like, oh, like, what happened? And I didn't even tell her the fucking truth, like, the whole truth, and that shit bothers me today. Like, all of this shit was, like, suppressed. It just feels so good to, like, talk about it and let it out. But yeah, what age am I at now? 13. Yeah, I think from age to 13, I was told, like, oh, I'm beautiful, I'm this, that, and the third, you know. And when I say the uncles on my stepdaddy side continue this shit till I was, like, fucking literally, like, they still try to this day. So this is still ongoing with one of them. The other one, I guess he felt bad and, like, just stopped talking to me altogether. And I'm not mad that he stopped talking to me. I'm actually grateful because I think, like, I would be, because I used to hang around him, I used to feel, like, really awkward, like, this is the same nigga that made me sit on his face. I have to be nice because I'm in front of people. Like, yeah, I told you I went through a lot of traumas, and I'm going to talk about, like, the mental trauma, the mental abuse, the physical abuse, and everything else. Because all these traumas, like, really played a part, but this sexual one really fucked me up. So, when I was 14, I got my virginity taken from me. The dude raped me, and I was very embarrassed. I felt shame of myself. Like, mind you, like, I don't know about the other traumas because I haven't talked about them yet. I'm just talking about the most important one first that, like, really affected me. But the other traumas and how life was treating me, like, it didn't make me feel wanted, and I didn't like it. And he would continue to do it. And, like, you guys are like, oh, why don't you fight back? And why don't you do this? Like, when you fight back so many times and you continue to get beat up or abused and mentally abused and knocked out, talked about, shitted on and shit like that, you just learn to, like, how to take shit to the heart. And when you start taking shit to the heart, like, you know, you kind of, like, get shelled off and defensive and stuff like that. That's where a lot of my, like, defensiveness with men came from. Like, for a very long time, I stopped dating. Like, right now, to this day, I do not date dudes around my age, or, like, they have to be older than me. Like, they can't be, like, 23 like I am. They're, like, they have to be, like, 30, 40, 50, whatever. Like, give me an old man any day. And that's part of the reason, like, why, because, like, when you get abused by, like, younger men and, like, shit like that shit really, like, takes a toll on you, because you be like, damn, it be your own age range that do you dirty, and then won't even, like, sit back, you know. Like, it really, like, kind of fucked up, like, with my conscience and shit. So, like I said, I started liking older men. When I was 14, a 21-year-old came to me. He was like, hey, how old are you? I was like, I'm 14. And he was like, oh, because you're really beautiful, and this, that, and the third, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. And he became my boyfriend, right? And I felt amazing. I felt great. I felt phenomenal. Like, this is my boyfriend. Like, you feel me? I was like, I have a boyfriend now. And then when he was like, oh, so what's up? So, you know, like, we gonna be in love or something? You trying to fuck some shit? And I would be like, I don't think so, sure. Don't really think so, sure. And I kind of just got to the point where, like, it just, like, was fucking with me so bad where I had to get, like, I think I broke up with him because I was like, I don't really want to do all that. Like, you know, that wasn't me. So I broke up with him. Still getting raped by this boy with a boyfriend. So as you can see, like, I was like, oh, he'd be like, baby, what's wrong? And I'd be like, nothing. Nothing. Like, I learned how to, like, suppress a lot of my feelings. Like, that's why to this day, like, because I used to cry. Like, like, I used to cry real bad. And until I realized, like, tears is not going to change the situation. Like, so you crying is not going to change shit. So what I would do is I'd be like, and I would like hold it in. Like, you don't understand how hard it is to hold shit in when you feel like shit because you want to say something, but you know people aren't going to say shit. And you know, this continued until like I switched schools, and then I met this dude named G. And yeah, G like would beat my ass, like physically beat my ass. And I gave him his nickname. I know a lot of G's out there. You probably know a G, but if y'all know who I'm talking about, that's fuck it. I ain't say it's government. So I started fucking with G after I left that school because I got suspended. Because what happened? I got suspended, I think, twice or 3 times that year. No, I got caught giving head. But I didn't want to give head. I really didn't. And he was like, oh, I'm going to just tell everybody you did anyway, so you might as well do it. And at the time, like I told y'all, like, my confidence was so low, and like my heart was just so heavy and shit. Like, it broke my heart to do this. Like, yeah, I was forced to have sex with somebody, and then I was forced to get fellatio, right? I didn't get in trouble for that. And then when I did get suspended, I got caught by the same dude who was fucking raping me. I had to sit there and take all that shit off of him. And I ended up getting suspended for 10 days. He got suspended for 5 days. He came back, told people that I was raping him and I was making him and I was blackmailing him. So when I came back, everybody was calling me a whore. I switched schools. And then I met this dude named G. I was so infatuated with him. And like to this day, I still think he's a very handsome man. To this day. I'm talking about this man took pictures of me naked, right? Naked, nude, in the flesh, beat my ass, because made me have sex with him. Y'all don't understand. And everybody's like, oh, he would never do that. Just that and third. You just always clock you up for the loud niggas and shit like that. And I get it. These be your homeboys, your friends, and you don't want to believe the shit about them. But really, when it comes down to showing shit like that, they're never going to tell you like, oh, yeah, I made shorty. You feel me? Do some shit. Or, oh, yeah, I did use shorty. And, yeah, my news is around the school. News got around the school. I went back to the same school I left from. Got back to that bitch. Whoo. I was bullied like a motherfucker. Like, I used to have to fight and like defend myself. And honestly, I fought so much when I was like younger. Like, fighting just wasn't for me. Like, when you fight so much when you're younger, you be like, I don't really want to fight because like I know me and I don't want to have to go there. And like, I've seen the shit I did as a child when I was fighting. I was just like, I don't really like all this fighting shit and going back and forth and beating bitches' asses or threatening to beat a bitch ass or be ready to fight a bitch or knock a bitch out. Like, that shit's not fun. Like, that shit's not cool. So, for me, I kind of like, slowed down a lot on sex. And like, everybody was like, oh, this bitch, she's a whore. She's a slut. Just calling me all types of bitches and hoes and shit. Bitches, hoes, sluts, everybody talking about something. Everybody had rumors going around about me about shit I did and didn't do. Like, it was a rumor. Like, mind you, lockers this damn skinny between each other. I had sex in between them. Bitch, I know I was skinny back in the day, but I wasn't that skinny to be fucking. Talking about something, I was just taking a whole lot of dick. I was like, wow, that is so nice to know, Very, very nice. Mind you, so as y'all can see, I was very fucked up. Like, whew, fucked up to the T. So, after I leave there, and the crazy part is, I didn't even sleep with people. Like, from a long time, like, I started online dating, and I found this dude who, like, stayed nearby near me or whatever, and what happened? I let him, I started to, date or whatever, and, we would talk on the phone, we would meet up in person, but I never let him sleep with me, because, remember, I was fucked up about, the whole ideology of sex or whatever, and then I had, I forgot to say, but my uncles would come back, and, they would touch on me still, and, touch on me and do good stuff to me, and it would make me feel dirty. So as in having sex, I did not, but as in being touched on and felt on and grabbed on when I didn't want to, yeah, that was happening. So one day he was like, look, you gotta say this relationship, so what you gonna do? And I was like, fine, I'm willing to have sex. I finally decided to open up and have sex, and he was like, oh, it's so good, I don't know what to do, whatever. my dumb ass, well, not my dumb ass, my miseducated, naive self, let him for him to record me having sex. Like, y'all, my self-esteem was so fucked up. And I don't know where that video is at. It's probably out there on Pornhub somewhere, like, scrolling out. You know what I'm saying? It's green light and shit. Stole from my house. I got my ass beat real bad because that was Xbox. Xbox was stolen, bitch. And my favorite movie was gone. And I know people like, oh, you like that because you're laughing about it now. Like, I can laugh about it now. I can laugh and not laugh, but I can smile about it now because I can say, like, everything that I've been through in my life has made me a stronger woman mentally, physically, and emotionally. Like, a lot of shit don't bother me. And the shit that does bother me, I know how to deal with my emotions better, if it makes any sense. So it doesn't break me down to tears like it did when I did the molested became my boyfriend, or like when I get excited or happy. It doesn't hurt me anymore to the point where it's like... Like, yeah, I have a therapist for, like, other issues that don't even involve my sexual trauma. Like, my therapist is very proud of me because I'm so proud of myself, bitch. Fuck all of that. Fuck my therapist. But I'm proud of myself. Like, I go to my therapist now and I talk to my therapist about shit that does not involve my sexual trauma. Because she's like, you really learn how to cope with your sexual trauma. And, you don't let it affect you to this day. I'll be like, you damn right I don't. You damn right I don't. But we can talk about this right here because this bothers the fuck out of me, you know? But yeah. What else? I need a nap. I need a nap. But no, you guys. Yeah, let me continue. Yeah. What did I stop at? I've lost my train of... No, I did not. I have not lost my train of thought, you guys. So, you guys, I really did forget what the fuck I think I'm at like 15. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Relationship, sleeping, and, got my ass beat. And then some more trauma that was related to sexual shit happened. I got a boyfriend at age 17. And I, decided to, be open with my dating life. And that dude was very controlling. And, the only reason I think why I stayed is because he had great sex. And if you're watching this, you know exactly who you are. He lied about his age. He was like, I'm 24. 24, because I made him a happy 25th. He was either 23 or 24, because I made him a 24th or 25th birthday card. And he kind of lied about me to his age or whatever. And, he would try to get me pregnant. And I didn't know, you guys, that he was trying to get me pregnant. He kind of told me, after he broke up and shit. And he would just use me for sex. That's how I felt. It wasn't, a real relationship. Well, it was a real relationship, but, it just got to the point where I couldn't trust him anymore. And he was doing stinky and slimy shit. And, he would start stalking me and shit like that. So, that kind of fucked me up with sex. So, I felt if I get a boyfriend, if I, start fucking to somebody else, he'll leave me alone. And that did not happen. What else happened that really fucked me up? When I finally did get a good guy, his name was David. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but his name was David, and he was a really cool guy, and he made me happy in so many ways and days. And when I say I was a happy ass camper, I was a happy ass camper. Nothing could stop me from being with David except for me. I stopped me from being with David because I started acting since I didn't really heal technically, I was bringing traumas and shit into the relationship, and I just broke it off with him. To this day, if I could go back in time, I would and I could pick an ex to live with for the rest of my life, it would be David. David was 30 and I was 18 going on 19. And he was a really cool guy. And I really could fuck with David. David, could have my heart, take it, rock it, cradle it, be my man for life. You feel me? To this day, I still would be with David, even though he is 18. So, literally 11 and a half years older than me. I could do that. Then, what happened? Then after me and David broke up, I just kind of didn't date for a while because I still had a stalker. and I was trying to like get to know somebody, and they like violated me sexually, and the shit really bothered me. Like, whew. And it happened twice with two dudes who I consider like, I thought they were like really cool dudes. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, when you sit back and you're like, oh, well, I just like, for me, sex was always like a trigger thing that I really didn't want to get into. But with these dudes, like, I thought like, oh, in high school, he was cool. So he would be friends, we'd be cool. And that was two dudes. And one like tried to fucking gang rape me and like tried to like fucking kill me and shit. And the other one, like, because I didn't want to sleep with his friends and his homeboys, and I literally had to get all my shit and get the fuck out. Like, they literally tried to fucking rape me and not send me home. Like, I literally had to catch the bus, and I think that was the longest, like, time, like, on a bus that I've ever felt. Like, I felt so embarrassed and ashamed of myself. Like, yeah, and I told y'all I didn't cry. Like, I cried, like, one tear, and I, like, kind of, like, slapped myself, literally. I was like, bitch, fuck you crying for, like, shit happens, you know? Like, it's so you gonna be alright. And then the other dude, like, he just, like, it was just me and him. And, like, you know, we were like, okay, we're having sex. He literally took the condom off, fucked me, right? And then tried to put all his homeboys on me. And I was just like, that's not you. And I was like, get off of me. And, like, I literally had to fight my way up out of there. And then he was like, oh, I'm finna take you home. And I ain't gonna lie, I got in the car like after 15 minutes of walking down the street because I realized how long it's gonna take for me to get back to my house. And he was like, okay, I'm finna take you home. And honestly, that shit like really affected me because I was like, damn, like I thought like now that I'm voluntarily having sex, like this shit wouldn't happen. Like niggas want more. Like niggas really don't appreciate shit. That's when I was like, oh, I should start dating white boys because white boys aren't like this. Which white boys are, they're not like as violent as the men were at the time the black boys were. But they're a lot nasty and a whole lot disrespectful. A lot more disrespectful because they feel like we're that in the bag of chips. Like, I'll tell y'all by the time I went on this date with this white boy. I will tell y'all. I will do a straight time with that. But, yeah. So, when I finally did move, one of my uncles, who I was very close with, we went to go, you know, smoke. You feel me? And he is a very... So, he's a very, we're cool. And he ended up, like, touching me sexually. And I was like, hey, you know, that's not what we do here. You know, like, chill out. So I went to his house. But he would come over here. And when he would come over to where I was at, like, I was taking a shower one day. And I didn't know he was here. He, like, opened the door and, like, took a picture. I was like, what are you doing? And then he's like, he poured fucking ice water on me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, nothing. You know, nothing. Walked out, you feel me? And so I wanted to talk to him about it. When I finally got to, like, when I felt like a dumbass, when I finally thought, like, oh, we can talk about this like adults and we can, like, get some understanding, he tried it again. But this time, he actually forced himself on me. He was like, oh, that's the best shit I ever had. And then, like, he dropped me off home like it was nothing. And I didn't tell nobody, but I felt like shit. And then at that moment, that's when I fucking broke down, tears, ugly face, everything. Like, I just let everything go because I was like, I'm sick and tired of crying and being sad. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, being sad sucks and being hurt sucks. Like, I didn't know, like, I was going through, like, a really, I kind of knew because I couldn't sleep, but I didn't know, like, how fucked up I was. Like, because from the physical trauma, sexual trauma, emotional trauma, like, and having to deal and learn and do shit for myself, by myself, and feeling like I was alone my whole entire life. Like, that shit, like, plays a big part. And then when I say that shit plays a big part, like, that shit really hurt me. And that's the moment, like, that's the day. Like, I literally sat in my room, I cried. Tears. Like, I just let everything come out. Like, tears and shit. Like, I cried my ass off. And not only did I cry, I allowed myself to feel all the emotions that I've always, like, suppressed. And after I allowed myself to feel those emotions that I suppressed, I hated myself. And I really hated myself. I wanted to off myself. You guys, like, I was like, oh, like, I really hated myself. But what I did was, I sat and I didn't off myself, even though I wanted to so bad. I kind of just sat there and I said, how can I love myself again? How can I be myself again? How can I love myself again? You guys, my hair is finally grown back, but I think like a couple of months, like I started a self-actualization journey, and I started meditating. I started working out. I started to get my life together. You know, I kind of like started working with kids more and more and more. Like I put more time and energy into my job than I did relationships. You know, I kind of didn't deal with people too tough, and I got this guard up about myself. Like I was mad aggressive with men. I was like, what you want? You just want to fuck with me. That's what you is. Like, and I would allow myself to say the shit that I felt. I became more honest too. Like, cause I always felt like I always suppressed my feelings and emotions and feelings and whatnot. So I was just like, let me go out there and be more open and honest with things. You get what I'm saying? Let me not lie to people anymore. And I lost a lot of friends and people who wanted to just sleep with me. You know, I lost a lot of that. And after I lost all of that, I felt happier. You know what I'm saying? And I became by myself. I learned how to be by myself. I learned how to be alone. I learned how to cope. You know, I learned how to deal. And it wasn't until I allowed myself to feel all those emotions that I felt and get rid of all the and then like just to feel everything and hate myself. Like to hate yourself is a strong thing, because for you to not like yourself, you have to be like, woo, Chalet. You know what I'm saying? But what I did was, and what I really enjoyed about myself was that I was able to separate. You know what I'm saying? Like after I separated the trauma and I dealt with it, it didn't bother me anymore. Like when people would talk about it, it didn't break me down to the point where I was like, because like if before, like someone's like, oh, what happened between you and John? I'd be like, I don't want to talk about it, you know? And I'd be like, oh, that's really not important what happened between me and John. Like John does him and I do me now. And when people be like, oh, well, what happened? I forgot to say something. I did get drugs one day. I got drugs. And not only did I get drugs, I got blacked out, I got robbed from and stolen from, and they tried to impregnate me. And they called me telling myself, oh yeah, bitch, you're gonna be a hoe and this is that, and try to blackmail me through like after they made me give them head, after they fucking drugged me, put shit all in my fucking alcohol and drinks like that. And you're right, I did not tell nobody. Why? Because I was fucking embarrassed. Very embarrassed. So yeah, we're not even gonna go there. But yeah, I realized like I was really hard to men. And being hard to men is like kind of, it's not like a, whoo, you're being hard to men. Why are you being hard to men? Like nobody, like I had to stop myself and I had to like work on shit. And I had to work on those feelings that I had. Those feelings of all men want to do is fuck. No man really wants a good woman. Like, oh, this, that, and the third. And I say that shit bothers me. Like, it bothered the fuck out of me because a lot of shit fucked up my insides. And that's just like a lot of shit fucked up my insides. And to this day, like, I have PCOS, which is like fibroids and shit. And the doctor was like, they think my hymen is broken or some shit. I don't even want to talk about it. But yeah, whatever. It's like they just fucked up like my whole inside, my mental, my physical, and everything else. And it's a lot of shit that like I didn't realize was actually happening. And like I left out certain stuff because it's a lot of shit. But it wasn't until I was 17 that somebody told me that if I didn't want it to happen, that it was rape. And if I told them no to stop and they continued, that would be rape, and that I should talk about it. But she said if you can't talk about it, she said you go to therapy until you can talk about it. And she's like, even though you may not press charges, you may not do this, it's your mental health is important. That hurt my chest. It didn't hurt my chest. That burp just, I felt it. Like I felt it in my ears. But yeah. What else? Like, I just kind of learned how to be independent. and learn how to cope and deal. And coping and dealing is the hardest part because you have to face yourself. And a lot of times when you have to face yourself, you have to face truths and certain truths and the truths that you weren't able to do for yourself. Like, it was hard to tell myself, like, you know, you really should have told this person how you felt. It was hard to tell myself, like, oh, you know, you should have did X, Y, and Z. Or you know that you should have went and told, like, this is that and third. Oh, you didn't, like, you have to you're literally fighting yourself. And then after you're fighting yourself, you have to get back off your feet and be like, what is this doing to me? How does this make me feel? And then you have to address your feelings, because a lot of times when people are like face any type of trauma, whether it be mental, physical, or sexual, they often like hide behind things. Because even when I started to tell like people was like shit that was happening to me, people was like, that's a fucking lie, you liked it because you still entertained the thought of them talking to you and this is that and the third. And it's like, it's not that you liked it, it's just the fact that you're kind of over it and you try to be cordial. Like, that's just for me. Like, I had to do a lot of forgiving, I had to do a lot of I had to do a lot of forgiving, I had to do a lot of crying, I had to do a lot of everything. And it is not a pretty thing. Like, everybody's like, oh, it's gonna be the most beautiful thing in the whole entire world. Like, no, like, everybody, like, life isn't always fucking sunshine and butterflies, and you don't get these miraculous, like, fucking flowers and gardens of happiness and peace and love and joy and everything else. You have to, it's gonna be some really ugly, rainy ass days where you're just sitting there like this. And it's gonna be days like, y'all, like, I really struggle, like, with my depression and being suicidal with this right here. And it really fucked me up. And people like, well, it didn't fuck me up. And if it would happen to me, I wouldn't do this. And if I would have did this, and I would have did that. And if it happened to me, I did this. Everybody is different. And that's why I said this is my story. And this is how I, like, kind of got over it. I really had to have a one-on-one talk with myself. If you guys want to know more details of how I got over it and things that I've did, like the steps, the actual steps that I took and actually did and allowed myself to feel, and what I allowed myself to do and go through and drain, and I will tell you, I will literally tell you, I will literally email you, I will answer your DM, I will tell you how I did it. Yeah. And honestly, like, the whole sexual trauma shit had me fucked up. Like, so fucked up to the point where for a while, and to this day, I'll choose an older man over a younger dude. And when I say, like, I'll choose an older man over a younger dude, it's more like I'm choosing him because, not because he's safer, not because he's older, but because part of me, even though I'm over the sexual trauma and it doesn't bother me, it kind of fucked up the relationships that I try to have with men my age. In a sense, like, it doesn't, like, the sexual trauma does not bother me. However, it doesn't make, like, from what I went through, it kind of makes me, like, look at people my age who try to talk to me like, what do you want? You know, because, like, clearly you haven't lived long enough. And, like, the older dudes that I date, when they do shit that's, like, young-minded and shit, I cut them off easily. And the older dudes that I've talked to and, like, actually been around with, like, I found myself getting along more with older dudes because I feel like I had to grow up more. Like, all my friends, how do I explain this? I only have probably one friend who's my age. But all the other people around me are older people. Like, older men. I have mostly male friends. Like, mostly older men as friends. Like, Mr. Bruce, Leo, and just other, like, older men that are older than me. And I keep that around me. Like, I value friendships more than sex. Like, if we don't have sex, that's cool with me. But if we do, it's whatever. And, you know, if we are, what's the word I'm looking for? If we're talking, like, it's a certain standard that I hold men to. And it's not just like, oh, what you call it? And you cannot be in a rush to get into my pants. So that's a big turn off to me. I'd be like, yeah, that's just going to be a no, you know? But what I can say I learned from my sexual trauma is I learned how strong that I really was. I learned how amazing that I was, how powerful I was. I learned how I kind of can make my own realities and change my realities, and how I don't have to live in the same old. I learned how not to tolerate disrespect from men. I learned how to deal with men accordingly and how to move about. You know, I'm still wear my short shorts, my Daisy Dukes, and everything else, and I'm gonna dress how the fuck I want to dress. But you're gonna respect me, not because not because I'm covered up, or not because you think that whatever. You know, you're gonna respect me because that's what I fucking deserve, and I shouldn't have to sit there and be like, you should respect me because I'm a lady and I'm a woman and I have feelings and emotions. Like, no, like, you're not. Like, you're gonna respect me just because. And it has honestly changed my taste in men. Like, I used to like real aggressive dudes, but now I'm just like, I love a man that's assertive and can lead. You know? I like a man who is honest and upfront. I love a man who is not always driven by sex. I love a man who is this, that, and that. Like, my sexual trauma didn't break me. It broke me at one point in time, but it made me the woman who I am today. And the woman I am today is an amazing ass woman. And I love, like, all my traumas, from my physical, emotional, just every trauma that I've had. You know, it makes me a better woman. And I love this feeling. Like, it makes me feel amazing, you know? It makes me feel like... I'm not saying the trauma makes me feel like the fact that I got over that and I did not off myself when I wanted to, the several times that I tried to and attempted to, like, y'all, it's some times where I was real suicidal and I was about this close to killing myself. And like, when I say this close, like, really, like, nigga, like, this close, you feel me? Like, that, real close, baby, real close. And I didn't do it. Like, it makes me realize how strong of a woman I am, and this is that and third. It makes me feel like I'm a really strong individual. And not only am I a strong individual, I'm a smart individual because I was able to cope and deal with it, where right now it does not affect me. Like, somebody be like, oh, you bitches who get raped do this, and you bitches who get raped do that, and yada, 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 yada. And I really feel like if you've been raped or molested and you can't get over it yourself, I feel like you should go get you a therapist, get you a shrink, get you a counselor. Like, there are literally places, like, if you, like, okay, so thing, you don't have to spend big money on a therapist. Because I think I spend $180 a month for my therapist. And I get to talk to her 5 days a week. 5 days a week, FaceTime, text messages, all of that. And I don't even have to leave my fucking house. And if you're somebody who's a big spender and you're trying to compensate for feeling inferior about your sexual, your sexual prowess or anything in general, like, don't go to drugs, don't go to alcohol. Because, y'all, I was about this close to going into being like an alcoholic, y'all. Like, on my budget, like, I used to get paid, and I want to say about 50% of my paycheck will go to alcohol. And when I say 50% with the alcohol, baby, I used to be a drunken mess. Like, I used to be like, woo, fuck these feelings, bitch. I think I broke a glass in my room. My dumb ass woke up and was pissed the fuck off. And so like, why the fuck would I do that? You feel me? With a nasty hangover, with a terrible stomach ache. It was just terrible. I used to like to drink. Like, I can drink with the best of them, bitch, but I used to chug them back, throw them back, you feel me? Like, right now I have alcohol that I haven't even opened or touched or looked at in like months. I've gotten better, you guys. But yeah, like, honestly, I was just a mess. Ooh. But no, for real, if you're going through like sexual traumas and shit that bothers you, like, you will become hard. You need to see a counselor because you shouldn't be a hard-ass individual. You shouldn't be and growling at niggas and shit like, niggas ain't shit, this, that, and the third. Like, this just disappointed because of something that happened to you. Like, go see a counselor. Talk that shit out. Get over it. Deal with it. Move forward from it. And understand that everybody's not like that. And if you were like me, drinking your feelings away, put the bottle down. Deal with it. Because I tell you, after that bottle's gone, you'll be out of money and your feelings still gonna be hurt. I'm telling you, and you might want to see a therapist. You feel me? Put the drugs down, put the weed, the alcohol, put it all down, baby. You shouldn't be popping pills so you don't get out your feelings. You feel me? talk about it, deal with it. The hardest thing in life is to deal with itself. And I think like I'm on the road to self. I know I'm on the road to self mastery. And I don't want y'all to get caught up in things as sexual trauma. And I get it, sexual trauma is not a small thing. Trauma and period is not a small thing. But it's only part of your life. It is not your story. It is not where you're going to be at. It's not how you're going to be. It's not going to be. It is not your, this happened to me and I'm stuck in this moment type thing. Like, there's always life. If you get what I'm saying. Like, there's a life after exactly what the fuck you're looking for. So, yeah. That's what I want to say. That's what I want to come on. If you want more questions, drop comments down in the comment section and I'll answer them. And I will be honest, because it's a lot of shit. Like, I could really do like a whole 3-hour seminar on shit that you have to do about stuff like this to get over it. And I know I'm not a counselor or a psychologist or whatever, but I got my own stuff out, my own shit. Like, I don't stink no more. You feel me? I don't stink no more. Like, I sat in shit so long, like, I was funky, and I didn't know that I was funky. But, bitch, I can smell shit now, bitch. You sit in shit long enough, you won't be able to smell it. Bitch, if I come around shit, I can smell it. And I be like, yep, that's some shit over there. I ain't finna go over there. That ain't got nothing to do with me, and walk past it and mind my business, y'all. But before, I don't be right up in that bitch like, I don't smell nothing. Guess what, bitch? I ain't shitty no more. Period. So you guys, yeah. If you have questions or if your question is wanted to be private, you can always email me with the email that's in the description box or hit me up on social media. I'm most likely gonna be able to get you back on social media than anything else because I don't know, like after my job and shit and I come home and after I sleep, I literally like might scroll social media for like an hour or so, and that's the best time that you can reach me. So yeah, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel if this video helped you. Make sure you share the video, make sure you like it, make sure you send it with somebody else. I know this video is like mad long, but it's mad good and it's mad importante and it's mad information in here, and it's more information you can get personally out of me that I will tell you. Like, I might even do a Q&A on questions on things that you might have wanting to know in this whole thing. Like, I'm not gonna name drop and say who these people were because I feel like people get in their feelings a lot and they stay there and they like blackmail people and they never let people grow. Like, to this day, like, the person who did that, like, they're not doing the shit anymore from what I know. And they have daughters and they have kids, and some of them still are, but most of them are not. And they, like, kind of like, oh, gotta chill out. And I would hate for their past to, like, haunt them, like, oh, you did this back in the day. Ooh, like, karma's gonna get them on their own. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, you can either email me, hit me up on social media. If you want to contact me, the information I know below in the description box. You know, just stuff like that. What else? Yeah, that's just it for this video. The next video that I'm going to do on trauma is going to be about physical trauma or emotional trauma. I don't know yet, but we're gonna go there and we're gonna go deep, bitch. We're gonna go deep. Period. I need some water now. Bye.